Hello and welcome back. Or if this is your first time, we are honored and blessed that you are here with us for these words. Words we hope will inspire you to live an authentic expression of who you are. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Rachel, and excuse my voice. I had too much of a good time at a concert last night. And as always, I will show up to share weekly reminders, inspirational messages, and affirmations to help you create more of the life you desire. We believe that when you align with who you truly are, you flow to what you desire most. Are you in an in-between moment of your life? The moment from where you ask for something to manifest and the moment it actually manifests. I was having a discussion with friends this past week, and the consensus seemed like that in-between period is what most of us call waiting, or what it feels like to most, that you're waiting for what feels like an invitation from the universe, waiting on something in your life to change, waiting on a manifestation to materialize, waiting for maybe a call back about a job, waiting to hear from someone, or waiting for just things to get better in your life. You aren't exactly sure what it is. Some of us are sure what we're waiting on, but some of us aren't exactly sure what we're waiting for. It just feels like we're in this vibration that we should be expecting change. For many of us, this in-between time can feel a little bit unnatural because it calls for us to rest. It calls for us to be patient. It calls for us to be faithful. It calls for us to be still. We have planted the seeds. We have nurtured them. We've watered them. We've done everything needed to ensure their growth and thriving. And now it feels like we're waiting to see them sprout. But that in-between time is the time for us to trust the seed is growing. Even if we cannot see it's doing its thing under the dirt, we have to trust and wait in faith. But it's not really waiting, and I'm going to get more into that in a little bit. Today we want to talk about that perceived in-between time, the time from planting to thriving, the time when we all feel like things aren't progressing. How well do you use that time? Do you spend it worrying because the stillness feels like you were forgotten about? Or do you spend it working on feeling supported, seen, loved, protected, or any emotion, or abundant, any emotion you're trying to create? Do you spend that time working on that? That in-between time when you don't see growth on the outside, it is all about growth on the inside. There's always a time for rest, appreciation, introspection, or just focusing inward. Resting does not mean you aren't taking action. It means you're preparing for when the action arrives. Resting is part of the process. Resting is part of the preparation. And a lot of us find this time challenging. Remember, seasons have reasons. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, I'm in North America, we are exiting out of winter. Winter is like a death period, a period where most of nature goes dormant. This is because they sense a shift and they begin to make changes. Nature, trees, they make changes at a cellular level to become more tolerant of cold temperatures. Nothing grows on the outside in some trees. All the work is done on the inside. A tree's internal processes must slow down in order to conserve energy because of what is happening, the harsh conditions on the outside, and because a tree understands what will come next. What you do in the winter or in the challenging times or the rest months can determine, or the rest moments can determine how well you bloom in your spring. Spring, on the other hand, is rebirth. Spring is a time where the trees allow themselves the time to revive and bloom from the winter months. Spring is when the results begin to be seen on the outside. Spring is the beginning of blooming bigger and better. We are all programmed as human doings when we are inherently human beings. Sometimes it feels like it is inhuman to just be. That's why it's so hard to wait or to be still in the winters. But guess what? We're never waiting. The winter trees aren't waiting for spring. They realize that they're just in a period of inner work. We are in an in-between time where inner work is necessary. Like I always say, spiritual, emotional, and mental work is work. It is real work. And that is what that in-between time is for. We are never waiting. We're always working on who we need to become so we can bloom bigger and better than before. What you do in the winter can determine how you bloom in spring. We've been taught not to see rest in that way. So being still for many people is a struggle. They busy themselves because they may not want to face themselves or where they believe they are in life. They busy themselves because they think action is productivity and they don't want to feel or be seen as lazy. They busy themselves because they want to feel in control, and action for them feels like control. They busy themselves because they just don't know how to stop for a moment. They think that if I stop, I will miss an opportunity. Whatever reason you may be busying yourself, at some point you need to stop and rest. Stop and allow the internal change necessary to usher in the external transformation we desire. Sometimes all this doing you're doing isn't getting you anywhere. You don't always need to get results on the outside. You don't always need to see results or the seed growing to know that it is growing under the dirt. Sometimes your season is about stillness. Stillness on the outside so that you can thrive on the inside. Going within is a form of self-care. Many people fear the stillness because they dread what they will see. You cannot fix what you don't face. You cannot course correct if you don't know how to direct the driver of your life. You are the driver of your life. You are the one who is steering your life. Sometimes what you're going through is for you to get still and connect with who is steering your life. You won't see change on the outside unless you create change from within. Sometimes we need to just slow down before things shoot forward. If you feel like you're being pulled back, think about an arrow. It's because you're being pulled back because you're being prepped to be launched forward. Your body needs rest. Your body needs to step back sometimes before it pushes forward. Think about rest this way. Think about the in-between time this way. Think about that waiting period this way. Sometimes you gotta pull back before you are launched forward. Many biological processes happen during sleep. The brain stores new information and it gets rid of toxic waste. The nerve cells communicate and reorganize, which supports healthy brain function. The body repairs cells, restores energy, releases molecules like hormones and protein. So instead of thinking you're waiting for something to happen, think of the in-between time as rest or stillness, as a spiritual, mental, and emotional upgrade. Sometimes you need to rest to spiritually, mentally, and emotionally allow your entire being to change on a cellular level so you can create a rebirth within where new information is energetically being downloaded from the universe, from God, from source, into every fiber of your being. It's when these moments of stillness is where toxic beliefs are being purged and new cells with new belief systems are being born, all in preparation for your spring, for your rebirth. The in-between time is also teaching you how to be present enough to understand that change begins within before it is seen without. The average life expectancy is now 80 years old, and even 80 years is not promised. That gives us approximately 29,000 days from the moment we are born. For some reason, to me, 80 years sounds like a lot of time. But when I look at it in terms of days, that's 29,000 days. It does not sound like a lot of time to me. When you break life down to days, think about how many of those days you spend worrying, feeling guilty, fearful, angry, holding on to grudges, being unsatisfied with your life, your appearance, your relationships, your career. How many of those days are you not in peace, not forgiving yourself and others, not moving on from the past, not building the life you want, not loving on yourself and appreciating yourself? When you think about that, think about how many of those days you actually spend enjoying your life. The average 25-year-old is not thinking about the 20,000 sunrises they have until 80. A 35-year-old has 16,000 sunrises until 80. A 45-year-old has 12,000 sunrises until they're 80. A 55-year-old has less than 10,000 sunrises. What are you doing with your sunrises? Are you waiting? My advice would be to focus. Focus on what you love. Focus on who you love. Focus on what you're good at, not what you're not good at. Focus on what you're good at. Focus on making the best of your days by living in the moment. Focus on your bliss. Focus on what makes you happy. Focus on creating more of what makes you happy. Focus on appreciating that you were given that sunrise. The days we are given are too precious to be waiting on better, waiting on things to work out, waiting on things to get better. I want to remind you, you're never waiting. You're always working on who you need to become to receive all you desire. So again, that inner work is work. You're not just sitting there waiting for the manifestation. You're not just sitting there waiting for things to get better. Make today better. See what your season of stillness is requesting from you. See what inner work must be done for you to release so you can reset and receive. Say thank you for the inner strength developed through the darkness of winter. Say thank you for the hope born in the new promises and life of spring. Say thank you for the passion of light, love, and joy lived in the summers. Say thank you for the transformation and the shedding necessary for growth in the fall. No matter what season you are in, trust all is well. Stop waiting and start working or doing the inner work on being your best so you can welcome the best. Before we go, we want to give you an affirmation for when moments of stillness or rest feels challenging. It is simple. Repeat it as many times as you need. Here it is. No matter what season I am in, I trust that all is well. No matter what season I am in, I trust that all is well. Before we go, we want to give a heartfelt thank you to everyone who signed up for our last Align and Flow Masterclass. It was sold out a week before the event. We truly appreciate your support. Thank you for everyone who signed up. If you missed the last masterclass, don't worry, we added another one for next month. Check out all the details at shopcommandinglife.com. We hope this message was what you needed to hear to have an amazingly blessed and creative week. If you like what you heard here today, leave a review or comment. Share it with a friend. Subscribe or follow. We appreciate your support. That's it for this week's message. Remember, when you align with who you truly are, you flow to what you desire most. As always, many, many abundant blessings to you.